In 594 BC, the Athenian lawmaker Solon created a new constitution for Athens. It changed the city's government, economy, and legal system.
Why did Solon need to completely rewrite the constitution of Athens?
We will answer that question in this video. But first, a quick summary of the previous episodes. Athens was the center of the region of Attica, and after the last king was removed, noble families created an aristocratic government. Greek cities such as Corinth and Miletus became rich through trade. This new wealth created tensions between aristocrats, merchants, and the lower classes, and in many cities, tyrants used these tensions to seize power. Athens was slower to develop than other Greek cities, but trade across the Mediterranean still changed Athenian society. The old social order began to break down, and tensions grew between the aristocrats and the lower classes, and also between the aristocratic families themselves.
And now let's go back to 632 BC.
Megara was one of the cities that had grown rich through trade, and it came under the rule of a tyrant. The tyrant of Megara wanted to increase his influence in Attica, so he supported his son-in-law, an Athenian nobleman named Cylon, in an attempt to seize power in Athens. Cylon seemed like the perfect candidate. He was an aristocrat, an Olympic champion, and a famous public figure. The timing also looked good. More and more poor Athenians were falling into debt and slavery, and public anger was growing. In 632 BC, with money and support from Megara, Cylon tried to take control of Athens and become its tyrant. But unlike Corinth and Megara, Athens was not yet ready for a tyrant yet. The social changes that had helped tyrants rise in other cities were still in their early stages, and the Athenian nobles quickly defeated Cylon and his followers.
So Cylon tried to seize power in Athens, but he failed.
Even though the coup failed, it was a warning sign for the Athenian aristocracy. The main problem was that the old political and legal system no longer matched the new society that was emerging in Athens. So in 621, the Athenian aristocrats appointed a nobleman named Draco to write down the laws of Athens. Before Draco, judges often ruled according to their own judgment, and Draco wanted to adapt the legal system to the social changes taking place in Athens, so he created Athens' first written law code and helped move justice away from the personal authority of local aristocrats. To reduce violence, Draco introduced extremely harsh punishments. Almost every crime could be punished by death. Even stealing a cabbage could bring the death penalty. It was said that his laws were written not in ink, but in blood.
So Cylon tried to seize power in Athens, but he failed. And in response, the Athenian aristocrats imposed Draco's harsh law code on the city.
Solon was born around 638 BC to a noble family, but his father lost much of the family's wealth. So unlike most aristocrats, Solon worked as a merchant, and through trade he became wealthy while also learning about other cultures across Greece and the Near East. Around 600, Solon helped Athens to win its struggle against Megara over Salamis, and after that he became one of the most respected men in Athens, admired by both rich and poor. But the situation in Athens was getting worse. The noble families distrusted one another. The lower classes grew more angry as more people fell into debt and slavery, and Draco's harsh laws only increased frustration. Many Athenians felt that the city was sitting on a powder keg. The aristocrats turned to Solon as a compromise candidate. He did not belong to any of the most powerful noble families, and he was respected by ordinary citizens. So in 594, they elected him archon and gave him the authority to write a new constitution.
So Cylon tried to seize power in Athens, but he failed. And in response, the Athenian aristocrats imposed Draco's harsh law code on the city, while Solon was a compromise candidate.
Solon knew what happened in cities such as Corinth and Megara, and understood that Athens faced a serious internal crisis that could lead to violence or the rise of a tyrant. His first goal was to calm the lower classes. He cancelled debts and ended debt slavery, and also cancelled most of Draco's harsh laws, but at the same time he avoided redistributing land, which helped keep the wealthy landowners on his side. Looking at other Greek cities, he saw that wealthy citizens outside the old aristocracy were demanding a greater political role, while in Athens the merchants were still relatively weak. He understood that the economic change would continue, so he expanded political rights and opened public offices to wealthy citizens, even if they did not belong to the traditional noble families. Solon also wanted Athens to develop a stronger economy like Corinth and Miletus by encouraging industry, so he welcomed skilled craftsmen to Athens and granted them citizenship.
So Cylon tried to seize power in Athens, but he failed. And in response, the Athenian aristocrats imposed Draco's harsh law code on the city, while Solon was a compromise candidate which allowed him to reshape the political and social order of Athens.
I see. Solon looked at what was happening in other Greek cities and tried to prevent violence in Athens.
Exactly! But even Solon's reforms could not stop all the forces transforming Athenian society, and 48 years later, a man named Pisistratus succeeded to seize control of Athens and became its tyrant.